This video is going to be a little different from the videos we normally make. This would be a video that I would actually script, but I'm personally not going to script it because I'm currently scripting another video. So it doesn't make sense to script two videos at the same time. But today I want to talk about something that I believe is going to be an issue in the short term. I'm personally going to stop rolling for DPS characters in Honkai Star Rail because of a couple of factors. Supports are extremely oppressive in this game. Like, the support characters are extremely strong. I cannot express how strong characters like Bronya are, how strong characters like Luocha are, even Yukong at Eidolon 6. Bailu at the launch of Honkai Star Rail, although she has fell off quite a bit, and even more with the release of Fu Xuan. Ting Yun still providing much needed value for characters like Jing. Hela being really good in AoE situations for that nice AoE defense shred. Asta giving an attack and speed boost to the whole team. I can't believe we really got this character for free. A unbreakable shield with Jeopard in your team, especially if you have his 5-star light cone. Heck, even though Natasha is overshadowed by Lynx at this point, I still want to use Natasha because maybe I just like her design, okay? But she is still a pretty solid character, especially if you got some of her Eidolons like Eidolon 2, for instance. And last but not least, even Well, I still think to this day he's underrated, but I've been using him a lot with Mbibatu Lanai, and he works extremely well as a sub-DPS supporter character. And Silverwolf is the most broken support character in the game. This one lowers your gear requirements. She allows you to fundamentally ignore the way the game is played, much like Bronya, and she just works really good in every single team comp in the game. And I don't see this ramping down anytime soon. Now, the same could be said for the DPS characters, but the truth is the supports make the DPS characters more stronger than they actually are. Now, some of them do have very high numbers, and some of them may even be a part of the best elements in the game. But the truth is the supports, much like in Genshin Impact, rule in Honkai Star Rail. Now, when Seal first released, she was the strongest character in the game. She still is the strongest single target damage dealer in the game, but she has fell off quite a bit. I mean, if you have a character that does AoE damage, you're probably going to use that character that does AoE damage, because Seal sometimes may not be able to one-shot the enemy. She does less damage than Denheng and Baby Tulanai, even at an E0 version of that character. That's enough for me to be kind of scared to pull DPS characters in the future. Now, take it from someone that uses Mbibatu Tulanai quite a bit. This character is extremely strong. His strength does come at a cost, and the cost being, well, your skill points and your sanity, because you have to play the game manually all the time. But he is overwhelmingly strong to the point where you pretty much ignore the element of the enemy. We're going back to the point where light cones are extremely oppressive, okay? Crit rate boost on Denheng's light cone, much like Seal's, is very strong. That allows you to put a crit damage main stat on your DPS character, which boosts their DPS overall. You also get an attack increase, which means damage dealers like this benefit extremely well from that in hypercarry teams. And then energy regeneration for a character that wants to use his ult, because if you use your ult on this character, you get more stacks for your elemental skill enhanced basic attack, which in turn makes it to where this character isn't really that skill point hungry. Now, if you don't have his 5-star light cone, he may not be overwhelmingly oppressive. Maybe if you have some of his Eidolons like Eidolon 2, you may be able to bypass that completely, because this gives him an action forward, which means you'll be able to take the turn right away. And maybe there is a character in your team that also wants to use a skill point too. Now, one of the best things about Seal is after the release of Fu Xuan, Seal has actually gotten a little better, because Quantum is one of the strongest elements in the game, and that is proven with the weakness break effect. You delay the enemy's action, you deal damage, and the enemy takes more hits. The enemy will take more damage whenever that enemy takes their turn from the weakness break effect. Quantum is extremely strong. Denheng also having the other strongest weakness break effect in the game of the imaginary element, delaying the enemy's action and reducing the speed, which means you can get in more hits on the enemy. So if you have your two damage dealers, which are arguably the two best damage dealers in the game still, Seal and Denheng Baby 209 now, you pretty much don't have to roll for a DPS character for who knows how long, because you already have the AoE coverage with Denheng, which, like I said in the previous video, for a destruction character is really overloaded, and then Seal still being the strongest single target damage dealer. And if you already invested a lot into this character, then you probably won't even need a quantum character for who knows how long. So that solidifies my point of never really going to roll for a DPS character in the near future, or should I say long future. That is until a character comes along the way that piques my interest, like Raiden May, for example, if she ends up making it to this game. So, with the release of defensive characters like Fu Xuan, and once you pick up that character, you already have your team established for your Mono Quantum with Seal, so you won't need any other team for that team comp. And then Luocha, who was released before, is really good with Den Heng and Baby 209 to the point where you always want to use that character in the same team because he's always able to cleanse Den Heng, and he's also always giving a skill point to the team, which is very valuable for Den Heng. So if you already have those two supports, either or, you probably won't be investing into defensive options going forward because you already have that established on your account. Bronya still being the strongest Harmony character to exist in Honkai Star Rail, or still being the strongest buffer in the game. I'm still surprised they have yet to release a 5-star Harmony character for the limited banner. It still blows my mind that we do not have a Harmony character yet. I mean, we did just get our first limited preservation character, so I really shouldn't be very surprised. But it's taking a very long time for them to power creep Bronya, which again, that limited 5-star, Harmony character has to do more than what Bronya does. Otherwise, why would you go for the character? Now, Yang Qing is a character that has already been overshadowed, really. I mean, he is decent at single target, but he doesn't really do that well, especially if you take into consideration he does have RNG in his kit. And any damage dealer that has RNG aside from QQ really is hard to make work in this game, especially when you want to get your damage out right then and there. These two teams have allowed me to reliably and very quickly do Memory Chaos 10 for the last, I would say, reset. I mean, I can't say season because that's not how that works in this game, but I haven't done it yet because I'm lazy and I usually wait till the last day to do it anyways. But that means I don't have to worry about a team to help me finish the hardest contents in the game because the team already still clears this content. Now, I understand a lot of you that have played since day one have already cleared the content also, so it's not even like you need the newest shiny toys to clear the content. But if we ever do get to a point where the damage dealers are going to start overpowering, what we already have, there may become a time where the HP scaling for the mobs you fight get even higher. And what scares me is that in Honkai Star Rail, at least right now, we pretty much have hit the maximum damage we would do with our characters, because our builds aren't going to improve much more. I mean, you probably already have very shiny ratios on your seal, and with Fu Xuan, you're getting more crit rate, which means you'll be a little more consistent with your crits. And I mean, well, there's Yukong, but Yukong gives you crit rate, crit damage, and attack. You probably already are hitting that max ratio with the crit rate and crit damage. So that brings me to my third point. Well, if all that into consideration, what is the true purpose of rolling for characters in Honkai Star Rail? Well, their appearance. You obviously don't want them to make characters weak, but you also don't want them to make characters too strong. And it's going to be hard to find that sweet spot with characters in Honkai Star Rail because characters more or less just want to do damage. There is the difference in playstyles in a game like Genshin Impact, which allows you to not have to power creep characters. I mean, look at Nilou Bloom. There is a character like Kafka that existed, which I think Kafka is an amazing character to exist in this game because she doesn't necessarily power creep characters while, making a character like Jing look really bad in situations where she can stick out in. And he looks better than her in situations where she would look bad in ways that you'd play the game in the future. Like maybe enemies have immunity and it's hard to hit them with debuffs, so Kafka would feel obsolete in a situation like that. But where it stands currently, you just have damage dealers like Den Heng of Tunai that just does raw damage that just shreds through everything. That kind of really solidifies my point in the beginning. What is the point of rolling for DPS characters anymore? Jing Lu, I mean, she looks great. That's all I can really say about the character. But if she's not doing more damage than Den Heng, why would you roll for her? I mean, elemental coverage, but again, Yang Qing is this. He might not be the best, but he gets the job done. So what I'm trying to say here is for whales at least, why would they roll for a character that is weaker than what they already have? And I think going forward is going to be hard to justify rolling for new characters because it's only so much you can do in a turn-based game in general. I mean, supports definitely seem a lot more appealing now than DPS characters. Anyways, this is going to be the video here. I don't know what this video turned into. I didn't want it to turn into a rant. It was kind of just me getting it off my chest. Again, I don't know if anyone really shares the same mentality with me when it comes to characters in Honkai Star Rail, but it just feels like we're at that point. And again, it's not like everyone is already here, but it just feels like if you've already gotten these two damage dealers, it's like what would you go for without that character? Like They have to power creep, unfortunately. That's just like the necessary evil. They have to power creep the characters, and I don't want them to do that, but that seems like the only solution to making things feel a lot better, because we're already at that point of no return after the release of Daniel. So it is what it is, but hopefully it doesn't get too bad in the next 6 months, because it's already been kind of rough in these 6 months, that's for sure. That's the video here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.